Well, I mean, you laid it out like it was simple, but I have a feeling there's something tricky about all this. I mean, all of these individual concepts make sense, but it doesn't sound simple.
Yeah, in some ways it is. In some ways it's not. I mean, we're complex people. And what I can say is when I work with every brand, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of excavating, a lot of unearthing of all this information to get down to something really clear and concrete. One of my, I love quotes. One of my other favorite quote is attributed to Mark Twain, although I've recently done some research and it may not be Mark Twain, but, and it's famous where he says, if I had had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. And so the idea that it's really hard to be succinct and simple. And so what's tricky about this is less is more. So how do we take everything about a brand? How do we take everything about a company, all those 8 questions that I just outlined, and how do we succinctly communicate that because less is truly more? Yeah. And I will argue it's way easier to create a 60-page brand book. It just takes time, right? Like it's just labor. Than it is to create a concise 1-page brief that communicates everything you need to know about a brand. And, marketing teams, they have time for a 60-page brand book. But everyone else in the organization, who, by the way, branding is the responsibility of everybody. Right. The CEO should own it, in my opinion, or a chief brand officer, because it is business strategy. But the actual telling of the story, the actual goals, because this is business strategy, is the responsibility of everybody in the organization, and everybody on the leadership team has ownership of a component of the brand and on how that brand affects the business. And so they need like a 1-sheet, a 2-sheet, a 3-sheet kind of thing, right? Like that's all they have the aptitude for. And that is not easy. That is hard. And so what's tricky is that this is sort of like the fuzzy stuff. This is the stuff that is sometimes hard to quantify. This is the stuff that is like, takes time to unearth. This is the blocks we have. This is the little bit of the psychiatry and the cultural anthropology. And so excavating that, unearthing that, just like anything we do in our business is a little tricky. And it usually just helps to have a professional, someone who's done it a lot, a facilitator who can also keep you moving, right? Like half my job when I facilitate work sessions is just keeping people moving, because we can get stuck on one of those questions for days, weeks, months. We like to talk about it. It's big stuff. We feel passionate about it, and we got to keep it moving. And it's a lot of times my job to recognize where the nuggets are coming from, what's relevant and what's not.